The letter said I owed £2,040 in rent arrears and that I needed to make arrangements to address this urgently. I read it standing in the hallway. Then I sat down. I had been receiving housing benefit for 14 months. The payment went directly to my landlord. A direct payment arrangement I had set up specifically to ensure the rent was always covered, because I was managing a difficult period, and the last thing I needed was to mismanage the housing money. My landlord confirmed each month that the payment had arrived. I paid the small top-up amount from my own income. For 14 months, nothing had gone wrong. The letter said the benefit had been suspended in month 12, 2 months ago, because I had not returned a required annual review form. I had not received the annual review form. I had not received any reminder. I had not received any notification that the benefit had been suspended. The only correspondence I had received in those 2 months was a letter that turned out, on rereading, to mention the review in one sentence in a paragraph about unrelated matters, without any indication that failure to return it would result in suspension. £2,040 in arrears, 2 months of my landlord not being paid. And I was finding out now. I called the housing benefit team. The conversation was not satisfying. The advisor confirmed the suspension, confirmed the form had been sent, confirmed reminders were sent automatically, but acknowledged they were sometimes delayed or not received. He said the arrears were my responsibility. He suggested I contact my landlord to discuss a repayment arrangement. I asked to speak to a manager. The manager said the same things more carefully. She acknowledged a communication issue, but said the responsibility for returning the review form was mine. I raised a formal complaint on 2 grounds. First, the council had a duty to notify me promptly if my benefit was suspended. Allowing 2 months of arrears to accumulate without notification was a failure of their own process. Second, the initial communication about the review requirement had been inadequate. One sentence in a letter about something else, without any indication of the consequences of non-return, did not constitute adequate notice. I also contacted a local charities benefits advice service. They helped me complete the annual review form and resubmit it. The benefit was reinstated within 2 weeks. The reinstated benefit covered the ongoing rent. The arrears remained. The formal complaint outcome acknowledged that their communications about the suspension had been inadequate and that notifying me of the arrears 2 months after they began accumulating was not acceptable practice. They agreed to write off half the arrears, £1,020, in recognition of their role in the situation. I accepted the partial write-off and took the remaining amount to the local government ombudsman. The LGO found that the council's communication failures had been significant and had materially contributed to the arrears. They recommended the council write off the full £2,040. The council complied. My landlord received the full arrears from the council. I was not required to contribute anything. If your housing benefit is stopped, the council must notify you promptly. If they don't, and arrears accumulate as a result, you have grounds to challenge those arrears through the complaint process and the LGO. Has a council or government department ever created a problem through their own communication failure and then expected you to resolve it? Drop it in the comments. And if you want more complete stories with no part 2s that never come, follow the page. New story every day.